Level 1, New MP/Private First Class. Congratulations, you passed. Not just passed, scored in the top 8% of your entire basic training class. Your drill sergeant, a man who has not smiled at a recruit since 2009, nods at you when the scores are posted. Not a compliment, a nod. From him that is the equivalent of a standing ovation. You were 20 years old. You wanted structure. You wanted purpose. You wanted something that would look you in the face every morning and tell you exactly what it needed from you. The military gave you all three inside of the first 72 hours, and it has not stopped since. But there's a problem. You chose military police. And everyone has an opinion about that. The infantry guys think you are a cop playing soldier. The civilian cops back home think you are a soldier playing cop. You are neither. You are both. You exist in a space that has no clean civilian equivalent, enforcing military law on military personnel in military environments that range from a quiet stateside base on a Tuesday afternoon to a forward operating base in a country where the rules change depending on which road you take out of the wire. Nobody fully understands your job until they need you. Then they understand it immediately. You ship to your first duty station, fort somewhere. It does not matter which one, because fort somewhere looks like fort everywhere if you have seen enough of them. The same beige buildings, the same identical grid of roads, the same flagpole at the center of everything with the same flag that gets raised at the same time every morning, regardless of weather, regardless of what happened the night before, regardless of what is about to happen. Your first shift is a Wednesday night. Your patrol vehicle smells like old coffee and someone else's equipment. Your partner has been doing this for 6 years, and she answers your questions in the order you ask them, completely and without condescension, which you will eventually understand is a specific quality of person that the military police either produces or selects for, and you are never entirely sure which. The radio crackles. Domestic disturbance. On-post housing. Third building from the corner. You respond. You have trained for this. Scenarios, role players, graded evaluations. You know what the protocol says. You know the steps. What the training did not fully prepare you for is the specific quality of the silence when you knock on the door and the door opens and the woman standing there is clearly trying to decide, in the 3 seconds before she says anything, which version of tonight she is going to present to the 2 uniformed people on her doorstep. Your partner takes the lead. You watch her work. She says less than you expect her to say. She asks less than you expect her to ask. And somehow the woman at the door starts talking, really talking, not the version, the actual thing. You file the report. You do the follow-up. You go back on patrol. At the end of the shift, you sit in the parking lot of the station for 4 minutes before going inside. Not because you are overwhelmed, because you are processing. There is a difference, and your partner, who has been doing this for 6 years, knows the difference and says nothing until you get out of the car on your own. Inside, the outgoing shift is briefing the incoming one. Coffee is burning in a pot that has been burning since before you arrived at this duty station. The shift sergeant is reading something on a clipboard. The fluorescent lights are the same fluorescent lights that have been in this building since before you were born. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. Level 2, Specialist/Corporal. Year 2, things get different. Not harder exactly, more specific. You have learned the base the way a person learns a city they actually live in rather than one they are visiting. The shortcuts, the patterns, the particular corners where particular things tend to happen. You know which barracks building generates the most calls on payday Friday. You know which intersection the drunk drivers consistently misjudge. You know which unit has a leadership problem before the leadership problem becomes a police report because you can see the early signs now in a way you could not when everything was new. You get your first serious case. A soldier in a unit you know by name goes missing. Not AWOL, missing. His roommate reports it. His vehicle is still in the lot. His phone goes to voicemail. He was at formation in the morning and not at dinner. The window between those two facts is 7 hours. You work the case with your partner and a CID agent who arrives 2 hours in and who treats you with the specific professional neutrality of someone who has worked with MPs who were helpful and MPs who were not, and who is reserving judgment until they see which kind you are going to be. You are helpful. You do your part correctly. You give the CID agent what they need when they need it, and you stay in your lane, and you do not let professional ego get in the way of finding the soldier. He is found at hour 19 in a town 30 miles away at a friend's house. He is fine. He had a hard week and needed to disappear for a day and made a poor decision about how to do it. His chain of command handles it from there. You close your part of the report and file it, but something about those 19 hours stays with you. The roommate's face when he filed the report. The specific quality of not knowing. You file that away somewhere. It changes how you approach the next missing persons call and the one after that and the one after that. Level 3. Sergeant/Deployed MP. Year 4. You have a stripe you did not have before and a reputation you did not have to announce. You deploy. The word deploy covers a very wide range of actual experiences, and yours is somewhere in the middle of the range. Not the most dangerous environment an MP has ever worked in, not the quietest either. You are providing law enforcement support on and around a forward operating base in a region where the concept of jurisdiction is considerably more complicated than it was at Fort Somewhere. Your job here is everything your job was stateside, plus several things that stateside did not prepare you for. You run the gate. Every vehicle, every person, every piece of equipment that comes onto the fob comes through your checkpoint. You have a protocol. The protocol is thorough. The protocol takes time. The people running logistics hate the protocol because the protocol slows things down. You follow the protocol because the protocol exists because something happened at a gate somewhere before you got here, and the protocol is the answer to what happened. One afternoon a vehicle arrives that does not match its manifest. Small discrepancy. Numbers that should match do not match by 2. Your sergeant tells you to hold it while he makes calls. The driver is cooperative, patient, not visibly concerned. The calls get made. The discrepancy is administrative. The vehicle clears. You wave it through. You watch it go. Your sergeant comes back and tells you good catch. You nod. You go back to the gate. You do not tell him that your hands were doing something interesting while you were waiting for the calls to come back. Not shaking, something else. The body's way of being entirely ready for something without advertising it. At night, the FOB is a different place. Not dangerous. The wire is the wire and inside the wire is inside the wire. But it has a specific quality after dark that daylight does not have. The sounds are different. The silences are different. You do your patrols. You check your sectors. You brief your incoming relief at shift change with the same precision that your partner briefed you on your first shift at Fort Somewhere 3 years ago. You are on your 3rd hour of a night patrol when a call comes in. Altercation in the dining facility. 2 soldiers, one from your unit and one from a unit that has been at the FOB longer, and the specific friction of 2 groups sharing a limited space for a long time finally manifesting as a dining facility incident at 11:45 at night. You respond, you separate, you de-escalate. You do it the way you have been trained to do it and the way you have done it enough times that the training and the experience have merged into something you no longer have to think about consciously. Both soldiers are fine, both are angry. Neither is in a condition that requires anything beyond the report and the notification to their respective chains of command. You file the report. You finish the patrol. You eat something from a pouch at 2 in the morning sitting on the hood of your vehicle, looking at a sky that has more stars than any sky you saw growing up. Your battle buddy is sitting next to you eating the same thing. You do not talk. You do not need to. There is a kind of companionship that exists in shared silence between people who are in the same place doing the same job, and that companionship is one of the things about this career that nobody in the recruitment video mentioned, but that turns out to be one of the most significant things about it. You go back to work. Level 4, Staff Sergeant/Supervisor. Year 7. Staff Sergeant. You are now the person that the new MPs watch when they want to know how to do it correctly. Not because anyone assigned you this role, because this is what happens when you do something long enough and well enough in an environment where people are watching and learning whether you know they are or not. You have a soldier under your supervision named Specialist Torres, who is talented in the specific way that talented young MPs are talented, fast to read a situation, good under pressure, instinctively correct in her de-escalation instincts, and who is also 22 years old, which means she does not yet know what she does not know, which is fine, which is exactly where she is supposed to be, which is where you were at 22. You watch her handle a call. She does it well. She does a few things slightly wrong. Not dangerously wrong, procedurally wrong in ways that a more experienced MP would have done differently. After the call, you walk through it with her. Not a lecture, a conversation. You ask her what she thought she did well. She tells you. You ask her what she would do differently. She tells you some of it but not all of it because she does not yet see all of it. You fill in the parts she cannot yet see. She listens the way you listened at 22. Not completely, no one listens completely at 22, but enough. Enough that the next call she handles, she does the thing you filled in. She does not know she is doing it. It has already started becoming automatic. You drive back to the station. The coffee is still burning in the same pot. The fluorescent lights are the same fluorescent lights. Your shift sergeant, who has been doing this for 14 years, is reading something on a clipboard the same way your first shift sergeant did 7 years ago. The institution continues. You are now part of the continuity of it in a way that you were not when you arrived. Level 5. First Sergeant, Year 12. First Sergeant material. People are starting to say your name in rooms you are not in, which is how you know the next thing is coming before it officially arrives. You have handled more than you can specifically count. Domestic cases, missing persons, gate security, FOB law enforcement, stateside patrol, investigations that you handed to CID and investigations that you ran yourself within your lane, traffic accidents on post that were mundane, and traffic accidents on post that were not, situations that escalated, and situations that you kept from escalating through nothing more than the specific quality of presence that 12 years of this work produces. You have learned things that are not in any manual. You have learned that the most important moment in any high-tension encounter is the moment before you say anything. That moment, the 2 or 3 seconds where you arrive and you take in the full situation and you decide what tone this is going to be played in, determines more of the outcome than anything that comes after it. You cannot teach this directly. You can only model it and wait for the people watching you to absorb it at the speed they absorb it. Paperwork is police work. The report is the record is the evidence is the truth, or the closest thing to the truth that the system can work with. You file everything completely. You have never filed an incomplete report. This is more unusual than it sounds. You have learned that the soldiers who are the most trouble are not usually the worst soldiers. They are usually soldiers whose circumstances have outrun their coping and whose chain of command has not caught it soon enough. You have learned to see the circumstance when you respond to the incident. You have learned to put what you see in the report in a way that makes the circumstance visible to whoever reads it. This is not soft. This is how you address the actual problem instead of just the visible symptom. A young specialist comes to your desk one afternoon and does not say anything immediately, just stands there. You wait. You are very good at waiting. After about 45 seconds, she tells you she thinks her roommate is in trouble. Not trouble in the disciplinary sense, the other kind. You ask the questions you have learned to ask. You make the calls you need to make. You coordinate with the chaplain and the behavioral health officer and the unit leadership. The roommate gets the help she needs. Nobody files a report. Nothing appears in a record. It is entirely invisible to any measurement of what military police do and how they do it. It is the most important thing you do that month. Level 6, Sergeant Major. Year 18, Sergeant Major. There are not many of you at this level. The pyramid narrows sharply, and the people who make it here have done so through a combination of excellence and endurance and the specific quality of professional longevity that requires you to be good not just in the moments that are measured, but in the long accumulation of moments that are not. Your days now involve less patrol and more people. You are managing, mentoring, advising, advocating. You are the person the company commander calls before making a decision that involves your soldiers. You are the person the young MPs call when they have a situation the book does not fully cover. You are the institutional memory of a unit and an interpreter of a culture and a standard bearer in the most literal sense of that term. A new MP arrives at your unit fresh out of training, top 8% of his class. His drill sergeant apparently nodded at him when the scores were posted. You watch him on his first shift. He is good. He is exactly as good as he thinks he is and not quite as good as he will be. He does not know the difference yet. That is correct. That is where he is supposed to be. After his shift, he sits in his vehicle in the parking lot for 4 minutes before going inside. You see it from the window of your office. You do not go out to him. He does not need you yet. He needs those 4 minutes. Everyone needs those 4 minutes in the beginning. The ones who become good MPs take those 4 minutes and use them correctly without anyone telling them to. He is using them correctly. You go back to your desk. You have 8 things that need your attention before tomorrow morning. You start with the first one. Outside, the flag goes down at the same time it always goes down. The same flagpole, the same ritual, the same base doing the same thing it does every day regardless of what happened and regardless of what is about to happen. The new MP gets out of his car and goes inside. The institution continues. You are the continuity now. You have been the continuity for longer than you realize. That is the job. That has always been the job. Not the dramatic moments, though there are those too, and they matter and they stay with you in the specific way that things stay with people who are awake for them. The job is the accumulation, the Wednesday night domestics and the gate discrepancies and the 19-hour missing persons and the specialist standing at your desk not saying anything for 45 seconds, and the young MPs watching you from the corners of rooms and learning things you are not consciously teaching. Year after year after year. That is what it costs to be military police. And somewhere tonight, on a base that looks exactly like every other base, a 20-year-old is sitting in a patrol vehicle that smells like old coffee and someone else's equipment, next to a partner who has been doing this for 6 years, waiting for the radio to crackle. It crackles. They go. Subscribe for more and join my WhatsApp channel, link in bio.